Accounting is not my expertise. Howdy, I'm Dr. Alejandro.
And I'm Dr. Emily.
And as many of you know, we have 3 clinics on our first 3 years in practice.
If you enjoy our content, make sure you subscribe and share with your colleagues and future colleagues to get on the path to victory.
A lot of you have asked us, how do you use QuickBooks? How do you hire an accountant? So for you, we brought an expert. We brought our accountant, Justin Munns. Thank you for being here today, Justin.
No problem. Thanks for having me.
Yes, and we have a lot of questions, actually, that a lot of people have written to us. And we'll start with them, okay? So why, as a chiropractor, do we need an accountant or a bookkeeper?
Yeah, so being an accountant slash bookkeeper, this kind of covers different roles. The bookkeeping, I've always just looked at as that is more compliance based. People start looking at bookkeeping and it's more of, I got to get my taxes done for the end of the year. I know I have to file my taxes. I know I need to get this done. So I'm going to push this to the side until I absolutely have to do it. And then I'm going to get into QuickBooks and just start throwing things around. And so that's kind of what people look at as bookkeeping. The way kind of we differentiate it with the accounting side of it is we don't do just the bookkeeping. I do provide bookkeeping services, but it's more advisory. What do those numbers actually mean? You can look at it and do, again, December 26th, you're sitting down, you're like, oh, geez, the end of the year, I've got to get all these receipts entered. That means nothing to you at that point, though. You did stuff back in January and February that no longer is part of your decision-making process, but it affected your business. You spent copious amounts of money trying to get this project put into place. But then when you look back, you're like, wow, we should have had a budget. We have no idea what we did on it. And no wonder my cash flow is hurting today is because I didn't make the decisions when it was needed. And so that's kind of what we kind of differentiate between bookkeeping and accounting, is having that accountant there to help you along the path to discern, okay, yeah, hey, what is this project going to look like? How do we plan for future projects? Are we going to, for chiropractor, are we going to open a new office? Is it time to hire another doctor to bring into the office? Can I afford the doctor? If you're doing bookkeeping at the end of the year, you're guessing throughout the year as you're making those decisions. And so that's kind of where we start bringing that expert advice to go alongside you the whole time. That's why you need an accountant. It's easy to look back and be like, hey, we made a lot of money, or we touched a lot of lives, whatever your goal might be. But when you're doing it along the process, doing it along as you go, you can kind of be like, hey, we probably made some missteps. Maybe we rented an office space that we didn't need to rent because it was too big. Having someone there that looks at that kind of information, who looks at the data, analyzes it for you to help make those decisions. Because as you said, you're not an accountant.
Correct.
Knowing y'all like to just go. It's visionaries. Let's get the job done. Let's move along.
Yep.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, you got to have somebody who might be a little bit of stick in the mud at times and be like, hey, we should probably wait a month or two on that. And so,
Yeah. I think that's the biggest thing, because it sounds like you're like, you need to plan. And that can probably be really frustrating for somebody in your seat of like watching visionaries. And we're like, let's do this. Let's buy this. Let's open this. And you're like, whoa, hold on. Let's slow down and let's run the numbers.
Yeah. It's a, I don't want to say it's a fine line because obviously there's times where people like in my seat can be too tight and that may not grow. And so finding that right mesh. Yeah. Because I don't ever want to stifle someone who is, dude, we're making a difference. Like, I want to drive this. I want to go. And I'll be like, well, you have $3 in your bank account. Yeah. And so we're not flying to New York to sit in a conference. Right. Whatever it may be. Yeah. But we can attend a Zoom meeting or something like that. Kind of bring some different perspectives. And so that's one of the things we really focus on, is trying to be an advisory board almost to talk to the owners about and to help them with the financial. Because like you said, you probably didn't even take an accounting class.
Nope.
In chiropractic school. But now you're expected to. But you're expected to go run a business. Right. And you have no idea. I didn't take a chiropractic school. I didn't take a chiropractic class. So I had no intentions of adjusting my own neck or anybody else's neck. That's why I trust you.
Yeah, that's right. So, what is maybe one of the biggest mistakes that you see chiropractors or small business owners make when it comes to bookkeeping or accounting?
The biggest one is kind of as we talked, it's you get that down week after Christmas and New Year's, and you're like, I have to do a whole year right now. And that's kind of some of the different things that I've listened to and read through. Those are all lag metrics. Those are things that have happened in the past. Those aren't going to help you make decisions going forward. But if you can stay on top of that, instead of looking back and you're like, oh, well, 6 months ago we did this, but now we can say, hey, last week we did this. This is the trend that we're seeing each month. It starts becoming closer to a lead metric and helping us drive what are the decisions we need to make for next week, for next month, 6 months, a year. And so
that future casting.
No, it sounds like everyone needs an accounting, basically, if you're a business owner.
Absolutely.
Another thing that we've seen around in chiropractic school, a lot of professors talk about profit first. And I want to talk about this because we know colleagues that haven't been using profit first. We told them about it. And then this year, they're like, last minute, hey, can you tell me this? Like, what do I do with this? What do I do with that? At the end of the day, like, we read the book, but honestly, like, we don't know what to do because we're not the expert on it. I know you're an expert when it comes to profit first. So would you want to share your thoughts on that, and why would you recommend that system?
Yeah, absolutely. Profit first is, to kind of narrow down what the book talks about real quick, is it's a cash flow management system. How do I spend my money? How do I control my money? Not necessarily how do I spend my money, but how do I control my money? How do I not get the call from the tax accountant on April 15th that says I owe $10,000 in taxes and I have $300 in the bank account and now I'm panicking? Profit first kind of helps put a plan in for all of these. And then as it speaks to I know that that's always the goal, is always to make a profit, but you would be amazed how many businesses don't actually make a profit. Profit first is exactly what it says, is you make a profit first. And so I may set aside whatever it's not a made up number. A lot of people are like, oh, I'm going to make 25%. Your industry may make 25% profit. But when you kind of look at things overall, we kind of analyze your business and be like, okay, a good number for y'all is 12%. We're going to take 12% of every dollar that comes out right off the bat and put it in a new bank account called Profit First, or called Profit. And then we will work from there to that remaining 88% now needs to cover your operating expenses, owner's pay. If the owner is getting paid a certain salary, because the owner should, you are the owner of the business, your heart and soul, your time is all going into that business. And so when you break it down, a lot of owners are getting paid less than minimum wage for how much their work they're putting in. It's great. I want you to support families. I want you to have employees. I want you to better a community. But if you're not making money and you're not comfortable, you're going to get burned out and you're going to close your doors
Fast.
fast. And so that's what that remaining 88% covers: your taxes. The business is the one that makes the money, not you individually. And so the business should pay the taxes, even though that when you go to do your taxes, depending on how your business is set up, ultimately the tax money still comes out of your pocket. But if we've got the business setting aside money each month, not even each month, each time a dollar comes in, then we know at the end of the year that you can, all right, your tax bill is $10,000. Sweet, I'm going to write a check. It's not fun. It's not fun writing a $10,000 check to the IRS, but you know you can do it because you've been accounting for it all year.
That's right.
You've been planning for it all year. Not, again, that last week of the year. You've been taking care of this all along. And it also kind of acts as a budgetary tool. If your operating account only has $1,000 in it and you're like, I want to go buy a new computer. Well, the computer's $1,200. I can't buy the computer. Like, instead of throwing it on a credit card or doing what you need to and putting yourself behind, you can look at this and see, hey, I need to wait, or I need to set more money aside each month until I can afford this next purchase.
That makes sense.
I love the idea of Profit First and all of your help that we've had with it, because this guy is like not that way. I love plan. I love structure. And he's like, yeah, let's buy the computer. Let's buy this. And I'm like, we can, just not right now. Because looking at our numbers and the account, like there's not enough money in the OpEx account. So we need to hold off on that for right now. Maybe next month, whenever we've got more cash flow coming in, then sure. But I love the idea. The biggest I'd say takeaway that I got from reading the book Profit First and then all of your help has been that tax account, because how many people just are, getting that cash flow in and they just consider it profit losses, right? That's like the only thing they go by, those two numbers. And then at the end of the year or, come April 15th, they're like, oh my gosh, I owe $24,000 in taxes. That happened to one of our colleagues and they didn't have the plans for it. And so it came out of, like you said, personal expenses or just whatever they had in their savings.
It comes out of personal expenses, or then you're putting yourself in a worse position by having to go to the bank.
Yeah.
Hey, I need a personal loan to cover this. And when they find out that to pay taxes, that kind of makes the bank nervous too.
Yes.
Because they're in to make money. And I was like, if you can't afford your obligations to the government, are you going to pay your obligations?
How is he going to pay me back, basically?
And so, and I mean, you kind of hit on a good point there that one of the key structures to profit first is the different bank accounts. And so, and he'll tell you in the book, so just kind of paraphrasing the book, that this is the old envelope system that like our grandparents used.
Yeah.
I'm going to set aside $10 out of every 100 for groceries. $10 goes to rent. And then when it's time for me to go to buy groceries, I'm going to grab the grocery envelope. And that's the cash that I can use to buy groceries.
Right.
Okay. So basic accounts are profit, owner's pay, operating expense, taxes. And I feel like I'm missing one. Sorry, off the top of my income. Sorry. Yes.
Income. Yeah.
I don't want to say one of the most important one, but kind of where all your money comes into.
Right.
Is your income account. To help you split off into those others.
That's a good example, like the grandparents with the envelope.
Yeah.
I didn't put it together like that, but it makes sense.
And so, we're just using bank accounts instead of an envelope. Instead of you tucking envelopes away in your office desk.
Yeah, I remember like you told me, hey, you have to open this account. And I'm like, I went to the bank, hey, so like the book profit first. And they look at me like, I'm by the hour here. I don't know
they
what
don't
you're
have
saying.
any clue. It's becoming more and more popular. And so banks are starting to understand. At first, there was a lot of kickback because they have to do the paperwork. They don't want to do the paperwork, but they work for you. Just like your accountant works for you, just like your lawn guy works for you.
Right.
They work for you. Like, I just need these accounts. That's how it helps me run my business. But you're starting to see more and more banks who are open to it. There's even banks that are specialized specifically on profit first.
That's cool.
I saw that.
Do your allocations for you. Like, you don't even have to go in to do your allocations anymore. You set up rules and it does it every time money comes in.
That's sweet.
Or once a week or every 2 weeks, however you set the rules. And
so you kind of mentioned like having expenses and all that. What are some ways for business owners or chiropractors that they could cut expenses or cut their overhead and where could they save money? So
it sounds strange to say, but one of the biggest places that we see that way we can help people cut money is we go look at your software. How much are you paying for software overall? Are you paying for Microsoft and something from Google that do the exact same thing? Or can we just use one? Is your CRM also your bookkeeping platform? Or does it provide that same service? Can we cut some of these subscriptions? How many subscriptions have you signed up for quickly that you did on Apple Pay or whatever it may be that you forgot about and it's been charging you $9 a month for the last 3 years? I saved you $9 this month. But when you multiply it over the year and you do that multiple softwares, we can be talking about we saved you $500 a year by hitting the deactivate button. And so, again, when you come down to the end of the year and we start talking about, I do need that new computer. Well, where did that money come from? Or where's all my money going? Again, you're wasting it in these small places.
Yeah.
Can we turn subscriptions into yearly subscriptions instead of monthly subscriptions? Just about every subscription service out there will tell you it's $10 a month. But if you sign up for the year plan, we'll give it to you for $6 a month, basically, if you pay now.
Right.
I mean, you just saved $240 a month there. No, that's not right. That's not good math. 4 times 12.
4 times 12. There you go. 48.
48.
There you go. And so you did. You saved some money there to get you going.
Yeah.
And so it's all on, I'm using that service. I plan on using that service. I have the cash to pay up front to save me almost 50%.
Yeah.
That's big. There.
That's funny
in that example.
We were talking with a chiropractor recently and she had 3 or 4 Zoom accounts. And when she was going at the end of the year, checking everything, she's like, crap, I think I can delete 3 of them.
Like, why not just use
And so those are some big areas where you can see quick savings. I mean, and that's not much work.
Yeah.
That's literally, if you have a bookkeeper who's doing strictly just bookkeeping, hopefully your accountant is talking, if you have an accountant providing kind of that CFO types or advisory services, they've talked to you about this. But that's quick savings. And it took us an hour to go through that stuff.
So nice.
Well,
It's really important too. Like, I know you know this more than anyone, but to have every dollar accounted for. And that's something Profit First also kind of preaches too, is like, it's not just like managing your money and here, but like each dollar that comes into your business is precious. And so we should treat it as such, that it's not just something that we should give away, like a subscription that we don't use. Like, we need to be able to account for each and every dollar. Where is that dollar going? How are we spending it? Are we doing it wisely? And then if not, then we need to cut here or add here, whichever. But can you just touch on that maybe some business owners aren't treating every dollar like it's precious?
Yeah. Well, to quickly turn that around is when you turn it into the cash that's in your personal wallet, you're like, I'm not paying $6 for parking when it's $3 over there.
Yeah.
Right.
But in my business, you're like, I don't care. Just it's $6, but whatever. Just move along.
Yeah.
There's all these little decisions, but when you think about it on your personal side, you wouldn't make that same decision.
Right.
Just because the business is a different entity. It's not you. I get it. But why would you waste money in the business side when you wouldn't do it on your personal side?
It accumulates.
And so
that's true.
It's just, that's my hope for a lot of people, is that, okay, not everybody is at the greatest at personal finance either. But still, again, you can look at a lot of these things and you're like, why? Why would you have 15 loans? Well, we just needed it at the time the money was available. You wouldn't let your kids do it. Like, why would you? Why did you decide to do it? It was an okay idea for you to do it in a business.
Yeah.
When, again, I know that people get into business for different goals, different reasons. I want to inspire people. I want to help people. But if you can't make money doing it,
you're not going to help anyone.
You're not going to help anybody.
Yeah.
You're going to get burned out. You're going to quit. Like, as we talked about a little bit ago, that you can't help people if you aren't being helped in return. And how's your business helping you? By making money.
Correct. Yeah.
Ultimately. And
Justin has saved us a lot of money and a lot of big arguments between you and I. So that's been good. Justin, I know you work with a lot of chiropractors as well. How can people find you?
So my company's name is J.M. Blue Ridge. So my name is Justin Munns. And when we were trying to start the name, they just thought that was the easiest way is to put my initials on the front. And then Blue Ridge. And so if you go to jmblueridge.com, that could kind of get you linked up with me in different ways. One, I'm sure y'all have all got my contact if people wanted to reach out. I don't care if you find me on social media, whatever it takes. I love to help people in this area. And so we would like to get you people.
And we'll share it on there on the description, the website. That way, if you want to link up with Justin, he's the guy to help you. And if he can help you, he'll do it. If he cannot help you, he'll guide you the correct way. So don't hesitate on that. Remember, you cannot do everything.
I have one more question, actually. If that's
yes,
okay.
ma'am.
Yes.
What can chiropractors or small business owners do to improve their relationship with their accountant or their bookkeeper?
So this is in multiple facets, like every part of life, but it's communication. I tell all my clients that I start to learn who you are pretty quick. After just seeing your expenditures for 2 months, I can tell a lot about you, but I don't know you perfectly. And so staying on top of that, communicating, whether it is just a quick, hey, I know this is out of the norm, but I did buy this. We do want to set up a meeting. All my clients are offered monthly meetings. Not everybody takes advantage of it. Some people don't. Like, unfortunately, some business owners are like, no, I'm doing this for compliance. Yeah, I just want this to be done. But staying proactive, that makes it more fun for us. Those are the people we like to work with more. The people who are taking it seriously and who are wanting to have those meetings to discuss their financials, to help educate what does this actually mean, who are engaged. But communication, that is I'm an accountant. I may not be the most exciting guy at times. It's not the most exciting subject, talking about numbers and how to help your business run properly. But it's vital for your business.
People will get excited when you save them on taxes, though.
So true. Yeah.
I'm sure they do.
It's vital.
Now, I don't provide taxes, but I do work with a lot of tax professionals. I do know enough about taxes to help you. So make sure you're finding a good CPA to work with, and to make sure that the advice is at least legit. It's not just, let's take this really sketchy deduction because it'll help you. And I'm like, that's probably going to bite you if we do that. And so kind of balancing that conservative and risk approach.
Well, Justin, we really appreciate you being on here. Thanks for everything you've done for our business. I know you really have been vital for us in keeping our numbers nice and clean. And I'm hoping that you can help a lot more people. So thanks for being here.
No, thanks for having me.
Yeah.